The first light of Solaris Prime used to paint the sky in gold. Now it burned red. Commander Rhea Solis stood inside the shattered control tower, staring at the horizon where the colony once glimmered with life. Her reflection stared back from the cracked glass, bloodied, hollow-eyed, and silent. The alien bombardment had ended 3 hours ago. The air still trembled with the echoes of falling metal. She touched the comm link on her wrist. Nothing but static. The alien signal jammer still pulsed somewhere above the atmosphere. She closed her eyes, remembering her daughter's laughter just a day ago, before the skies opened and the stars themselves seemed to rain fire. High above, a formation of alien ships drifted like predatory birds, sleek, curved, glimmering with pale energy. Their hulls shimmered as if alive. The coalition called themselves the Viel Dominion, a council of 7 ancient species who claimed to maintain galactic balance. To them, humanity was a contagion. To Rhea, they were murderers. When the rescue shuttle finally descended, Rhea didn't turn to greet it. She already knew who it was. Captain Edrin Vale, her oldest comrade and the only man stubborn enough to come looking for survivors. His boots crunched over debris as he approached. "You should have left with the last convoy," he said. "And leave them behind?" She answered, her voice flat. "There's no one left to save, Rhea." The silence between them carried the weight of 1,000 ghosts. The shuttle engines rumbled softly behind them, a lonely heartbeat amid ruin. Back on Earth, the news of Solaris Prime's fall shook the planet to its core. Billions watched as transmissions flickered across every screen. Entire cities vaporized in moments, oceans boiled away, continents torn apart. The Dominion's message followed, calm, almost kind. "Humans of Sol," the alien envoy had said, voice like silk. "You have grown too quickly, too recklessly. The Dominion maintains peace. Your expansion threatens it. This culling is mercy." In the command chamber of the Earth Defense Council, no one spoke after the broadcast. The silence was broken only by Rhea's voice, carried through the secure line from the outer colonies. "You call this mercy? You slaughtered children in their beds. You think peace is built on ashes?" The envoy tilted his head, reptilian eyes unblinking. "You misunderstand, Commander Solis. Peace is built on control. You humans still believe in freedom, a dangerous faith." The connection cut, leaving only the faint hum of static. Rhea returned to Earth 3 days later. The once crowded orbit now swarmed with evacuation transports and crippled defense ships. The orbital ring shimmered with repair drones working day and night to reinforce the planetary shield. The world was afraid, truly afraid, and for the first time in centuries. Inside the subterranean council chambers beneath the Pacific Command Hub, leaders from across the planet gathered. Some demanded surrender. Others screamed for retaliation. Rhea watched them argue, her expression carved from stone. When her turn came to speak, she stood slowly, her voice calm and deliberate. "They think they've broken us. They think humanity will kneel. They've made a mistake." "Commander Solis," said Chancellor Orlan, adjusting his spectacles. "Our fleets are crippled. The colony's gone. What are you suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we make them regret leaving Earth intact." The room fell silent. Even the lights seemed to dim. Within hours, the Council authorized Operation Revenant, a deception so grand it bordered on madness. To the galaxy, humanity would appear broken, obedient, and contained. In secret, the survivors would build something new, faster, stronger, deadlier than anything the Dominion imagined. Deep in the asteroid belt, a hidden fleet yard was commissioned under the code name Erebus. There, engineers and scientists worked under false identities, blending alien technology salvaged from fallen ships with human innovation. Edrin was assigned as tactical commander. Dr. Leo Tenner, a physicist once dismissed as eccentric, now led propulsion research, and at the heart of it all was Rhea, silent, tireless, consumed by purpose. Each night she reviewed footage from the colony's last transmission. Her daughter's face appeared for a moment before the signal dissolved in light. Rhea would close her eyes, then whisper, "I'm coming for you." Months turned into years. On the surface, Earth played its part. Peaceful speeches filled the networks. Trade agreements with the Dominion were signed and celebrated. Patrol routes were reduced. The aliens watched with satisfaction, believing their warning had worked. But beneath the calm surface, the pulse of vengeance grew stronger. The first prototype ship rose from the shadows of Erebus, sleek, angular, and humming with stolen power. Its name was Sol Requiem. Rhea watched from the observation deck as the ship's engines ignited, casting a golden glow across the hollow of the asteroid bay. For the first time in years, she allowed herself a small smile. They wanted to cage humanity, she murmured. We'll show them what happens when the cage breaks. Outside the asteroid field, the stars shimmered cold and endless, unaware that the quiet birth of a single human warship would soon set the galaxy ablaze. The asteroid belt had never known light until the day the first fusion cores came alive. From the black gulf of space, the Erebus yards looked like a web of drifting shadows, but inside those shadows, humanity was rebuilding itself, piece by stolen piece. Commander Rhea Solis stood on a viewing platform, a thin layer of glass between her and the void. Below her, 10 half-finished warships floated inside dry docks carved into the stone. The faint hum of reactors thrummed through the floor, pulsing like a heartbeat. Captain Idrin Vale approached, his uniform dark, his face older than his years. They're ahead of schedule, he said, watching engineers drift between the ships in zero-gravity suits. The first 3 vessels will be spaceworthy within the month. Rhea nodded, her eyes locked on the largest of them, Sol Requiem. The Dominion thinks we're afraid. Let's make sure they stay convinced. The plan was working. Across the solar system, Earth's government broadcast messages of peace and humility, praising the Dominion for its benevolence. The aliens had relaxed their surveillance. Their fleets moved further from Sol. Their confidence grew, exactly as Rhea had hoped. But in the quiet dark of the Erebus stations, trust was a fragile thing. Dr. Leo Tenner entered the control deck, clutching a datapad that flickered with encrypted code. Commander, we've finished integrating the Vale propulsion array, he said. But it's unpredictable, Rhea turned to him. Unpredictable how? It bends quantum space instead of pushing through it. If something goes wrong, it could fold a ship in half before it leaves orbit. Then make sure it doesn't, she said simply. Her tone wasn't cruel. It was tired, burdened by a purpose that left no room for hesitation. Tenner sighed, rubbing his temple. You're asking humans to perfect technology the Vale spent 1,000 years building, and they spent 1,000 years getting comfortable, Idrin added. We don't have that luxury. For months, the engineers worked in silence, each day blurring into the next. They learned the alien language of physics and turned it into something human. Faster, sharper, unpredictable. The ships that emerged were unlike anything built before. The Vigilant, forged from comet ice and titanium, could vanish into electromagnetic silence. The Harrow, built with stolen Vale armor plating, reflected energy weapons like glass. And the Sol Requiem, the flagship, carried a weapon still whispered about in secret, the Nova Lance. The Lance was more myth than machine. A focused burst of gravitational energy, capable of tearing through space-time itself. No one outside Rhea's inner circle even knew it existed. It was humanity's hidden ace, their vengeance made manifest. But vengeance came at a cost. As the fleet neared completion, Rhea began noticing irregularities in supply shipments. Materials missing, coded transmissions intercepted. Someone inside Erebus was leaking information. She called Idrin and Tenner into the command room. The holographic map before them pulsed with blinking red dots. Communication anomalies. Someone's talking to the Dominion, Rhea said quietly. And they're doing it from here. Tenner's face paled. You think one of us? I don't think, she interrupted. I know. Over the next week, the station became a cage of suspicion. Crews whispered. Eyes lingered too long in corridors. And when the saboteur finally revealed himself, it wasn't through cunning, it was through panic. Lieutenant Harrow, a communications officer, was caught transmitting encoded signals from Dock 3. When cornered, he claimed he'd been promised safety for his family still on Earth. Rhea listened in silence as he pleaded for forgiveness. She gave none. You didn't just betray me, she said, her voice low. You betrayed every soul that died on Solaris. You betrayed the children who'll never see another sunrise. He was taken away in silence. Later, Idrin found her alone in the observation bay, staring at the stars. You could have let him live, he said softly. I can't risk the Dominion finding us before we're ready. Rhea, we're not machines. We're fighting for our humanity. Don't lose yours. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't answer. The war had already taken too much. Weeks turned to months. The Dominion's patrols grew more distant, lulled into arrogance by Earth's supposed obedience. Their ambassador, Lord Kaelor, reported to his council that humanity had been pacified. Their spirit is tamed, he said. They build gardens now, not weapons. He was wrong. In the cold shadow of Jupiter, the Sol Requiem came alive. Its engines pulsed with golden light as it lifted from its berth. Across the Erebus yards, alarms flared, not in warning, but in triumph. The first human warship in 4 years left the dock, powered by alien energy shaped by human will. Rhea stood on the bridge as the ship cleared the asteroid field. The stars stretched into endless lines as the jump drive engaged. Space folded. And for the first time in history, humanity traveled faster than the Dominion ever thought possible. When they emerged near Neptune's orbit, Idrin stared at the readings in disbelief. We covered 3 astronomical units in seconds. Tenor exhaled shakily. We did it, Rhea smiled faintly. No, we've just begun. She opened a secure channel to all shipyards. Her voice carried across the void. This is Commander Rhea Solis. From this day forward, we are no longer refugees. We are no longer prey. We are the Revenant fleet, and when the time comes, the Dominion will remember our name. Across the network, thousands of workers cheered, their voices echoing in unison, a sound that felt like thunder in the vacuum of space, but not everyone cheered with hope. Some feared what humanity was becoming, a mirror of the very empire they hated. Tenor often stayed late in his lab, staring at the holographic schematics of the Nova Lance. One night, Idrin found him there, hands trembling. This weapon, Tenor said, it doesn't just destroy ships. It unravels everything. If we use it wrong, it could burn the stars themselves. Then we'll use it right, Idrin replied. Because if we don't, there won't be any stars left to burn. Far beyond the system, the Dominion began noticing strange disturbances. Faint energy signatures near Sol. Unregistered signals that didn't match any known pattern. Lord Kaelor ordered an investigation. By the time his scouts reached the belt, the Erebus yards were empty. All they found were hollow docks and a single message carved into the hull of a drifting asteroid. The dead remember. Kaelor stared at the message for a long moment, unease prickling beneath his calm expression. For the first time in his long reign, he felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Because somewhere in the dark between worlds, humanity had vanished, and when they returned, the galaxy would tremble. The darkness of space was absolute, broken only by the gleaming edges of warships that hovered like predators waiting for dawn. The human fleet, 10 years in the making, glimmered with the quiet confidence of something that had waited long and planned every detail. Commander Rhea Solis stood on the bridge of the Sol Requiem, her hands resting on the railing as her eyes swept over the assembled ships. Each vessel reflected her determination, each crew member a living testament to sacrifice and resilience. Coordinates locked, said Lieutenant Dara Ven, her fingers dancing over the holographic console. The Dominion fleet is on the outer edge of the Corin sector. Sensors indicate their capital ships are unaware of our presence. Rhea nodded, swallowing the tightness in her chest. Years of preparation had led to this moment. Billions of lives lost, families destroyed, colonies annihilated. And now the Vengeful fleet had risen, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy's most feared species. Admiral, Idrin Vale said, stepping to her side, his face grim. They're larger than we anticipated. We're outnumbered nearly 5-1. She turned slowly, meeting his gaze. They're larger, yes, but they've grown complacent. They don't understand us, Idrin. They never did. Across the bridge, Tenor adjusted the quantum drives, his voice trembling slightly. The Nova Lance is ready. Once fired, the first wave of our fleet can penetrate their shields before they know what hit them. Rhea allowed herself a brief smile, though it was tempered by the weight of what was to come. All ships prepare for jump. Stay in formation, Delta Prime. The first strike must be precise. In the deep black, the Sol Requiem pulsed with golden energy as its engines folded space. One moment, they were on the edge of Neptune. The next, they emerged at the heart of the Corin sector, invisible shadows in a galaxy that had long forgotten human defiance. Visual on enemy fleet, Dara announced, her voice steady despite the tension. They have 23 capital ships, hundreds of support vessels. Shields are at maximum. Rhea inhaled, letting the cold clarity of space fill her lungs. This is for every colony, every life they took. For the children who never grew up. For the families buried under alien rule. Fire when ready. The first shots were precise, surgical. Nova Lance energy tore through the Dominion shields, striking the lead ships with devastating accuracy. Explosions blossomed in the void, throwing shards of alien metal into the black. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion fleet faltered. Rhea's communicator crackled. Commander Solus, multiple boarding craft detected on your starboard flank. They're attempting a counterattack. Deploy interceptors, she ordered calmly. But do not deviate from the strike plan. Let them come. Let them see what humanity has become. As the battle unfolded, the human fleet moved like a single organism, each ship covering the others, each maneuver designed to confuse and dismantle the Dominion formation. For every alien vessel destroyed, humanity paid with precision and courage. Each loss felt deeply, each victory hard won. In the midst of chaos, Rhea's thoughts drifted to the faces she had lost. The engineers, the scientists, the families on Solaris, the millions who had died believing Earth could never fight back. Every shot fired, every maneuver executed was in their memory. Tenor's voice broke through the bridge's hum, urgent. Commander, the Nova Lance is overheating. If we fire again too soon, it could destabilize. Rhea's jaw tightened. Then we aim carefully. One shot at a time. Make it count. Hours passed, though time seemed irrelevant in the void. The Dominion fleet, confident in their superiority, found themselves trapped in a war they had not anticipated. They were skilled, ruthless, and yet fundamentally predictable. They had underestimated human cunning, human unpredictability, and human will. Then came the turning point. Rhea focused on the Dominion flagship, an immense vessel encrusted with layers of alien technology. It had been the instrument of billions of deaths. She activated the Nova Lance, watching the energy coil and pulse like a living thing. This one is for Solaris, she whispered. The beam struck, tearing a gash through alien armor and sending the ship's core into chaos. Detonations rippled outward, ripping apart the surrounding fleet as human ships pressed the attack. Fear, something the Dominion had never known from this species, spread through their lines like wildfire. But victory was not without sacrifice. The Harrow took a direct hit, its bridge destroyed, sending its crew into emergency evacuation. Rhea gritted her teeth, signaling the fleet to press on. For every fallen ship, we double our resolve. No mercy but honor in what we save. Amid the battle, Idrin sent a secure message to Rhea. The Dominion command is attempting surrender negotiations. They don't understand us yet. Rhea's eyes hardened. We will not negotiate. We will show them humanity is not to be tamed. Not to be feared only, but to be respected. Let them survive this, and they may never rise against us again. As the last of the Dominion capital ships fell into disarray, the human fleet regrouped, battered, but undefeated. In the cold silence that followed, the survivors looked to Rhea, the woman who had led them from despair to fury. I know this victory feels hollow to some, she said, her voice carrying across the fleet comms. We mourn those we lost. We honor them with our actions. But let the galaxy remember, humanity will never bow. We will defend our place, our people, and our future no matter the odds. Somewhere, deep within the wreckage of the Dominion's broken command network, Lord Kaelor stared at the reports flooding in. For the first time, he realized that he had misjudged the humans. They were unpredictable, relentless, and their spirit was untouchable. Back on the Sol Requiem, Rhea watched the stars stretch in the aftermath of war. The battle was won, but the galaxy was changed forever. Humans had proven that even against overwhelming odds, courage, unity, and unyielding resolve could carve a place in the cosmos. And as the first light of a distant sun reflected off her ship's hull, Rhea allowed herself a rare, quiet smile. Humanity had struck back, and the dawn of their vengeance had only just begun. The wreckage of the Dominion fleet drifted silently through the Corin sector, fragments of alien ships glinting in the cold light of distant stars. Humanity's fleet had emerged victorious, though at a heavy cost. Each human vessel bore scars from battle, and every crew member carried the memory of friends lost, colonies destroyed, and families sacrificed. Yet in the stillness after chaos there was triumph and something deeper, hope reborn. Commander Rhea Solis stood on the observation deck of the Sol Requiem, staring at the remnants of what had once been the galaxy's most feared force. Her hand rested against the glass, the vastness of space reflecting in her eyes. "We did what was necessary," she murmured almost to herself. "We fought not just for revenge, but for survival, for the right to be heard." Lieutenant Daravan approached, her steps quiet but purposeful. "Commander, the fleet is regrouping. Communications are being re-established with Earth. They want to hear from you." Rhea nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders again. Let them see the truth. Humanity is no longer a passive species to be observed and dismissed. We have a voice and we will defend it. As the fleet returned through the jump gates toward Earth, word of the victory spread. Across the colonies and the core worlds, people cheered, cried, and mourned. Humanity had faced annihilation and emerged stronger. Families who had feared extinction now understood that even the darkest hours could give rise to the brightest resolve. In the aftermath, Earth convened a historic council. Scientists, military leaders, and civilians who had contributed to the Vengeance Project were honored. Every person involved, from the youngest technician to the most seasoned strategist, knew that this victory was as much theirs as it was Rhea's. During the ceremony, Rhea addressed the gathered audience. "We have proven something that cannot be measured in technology alone. We have shown that courage, unity, and the unwillingness to surrender our dignity can challenge even the most powerful adversaries. Every life lost has been honored, every sacrifice remembered. Humanity's strength is not in our weapons, but in our resolve to never give up." The speech resonated beyond Earth. Colonies that had been silent under Dominion oppression sent messages of solidarity. Children who had only known fear now dreamed of space as a place of opportunity and adventure. Humanity's identity had shifted. They were no longer a species to be controlled. They were architects of their destiny. Back on the Sol Requiem, Rhea walked among her crew. She saw smiles, tears, relief, and exhaustion. Each face told a story of endurance and bravery. She paused at the memorial wall, a holographic display of names of those who had fallen in the battle against the Dominion. For a moment, the fleet was silent. The crew remembered. They honored. They promised that the lives lost would not be forgotten. Idrin Vale, standing beside her, spoke softly. "They will remember, Commander. Not just the Dominion, but the galaxy. Humanity has marked its presence, and no one will forget it now." Rhea nodded. "Yes, let this be a reminder, not of vengeance alone, but of what we can achieve when we stand together. Let it inspire those who follow us in every colony, every world, every ship that carries our name. We are capable of more than we ever imagined." Months passed, and the human fleet patrolled the edges of previously conquered territories. The Dominion, shattered and humbled, had retreated to their core worlds, reevaluating the nature of their expansion. Humanity had forced the galaxy to respect them, not through domination but through courage, innovation, and unwavering spirit. Rhea, now promoted to Admiral of the newly unified Earth Defense Command, oversaw the rebuilding of destroyed colonies and the expansion of human knowledge and technology. Schools, research stations, and exploratory missions flourished under the shadow of victory, ensuring that the sacrifices of the past would guide the promise of the future. Standing once more on the observation deck, Rhea gazed at a distant star system that had once been a Dominion outpost. She felt the quiet pulse of the universe and whispered, "We have learned, we have endured, and we have triumphed. This is only the beginning. Humanity's story will echo across the stars, not as conquerors, but as survivors, explorers, and guardians of our destiny." Her words were carried across the fleet, a promise to every human who looked to the skies with wonder and determination. In the silent majesty of space, the Revenant fleet became more than machines and crew. It became a symbol, a legacy of resilience, unity, and the unyielding spirit of humanity. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a species that refused to bow, and in that defiance lay hope. Hope that every generation would carry forward. Humanity's final strike had shaken the cosmos, but it had also illuminated a path for the future, one where courage and determination could overcome even the most insurmountable odds. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, the human fleet sailed onward not just as warriors, but as the living testament of what it truly meant to be human. The story of vengeance had ended, but the story of humanity had only begun.